Okay, so week 3 just concluded, and what a great, fun, fantastic, awesome, fabulous week this was, filled with great wins by a ton of teams. It was just such a fun week.
I have returned.
Oh, hell yeah. Boy, do I miss hearing Al Michaels complain about his wife or whatever the f*** for 3 hours while I try to forget there's a football game going on. Because in this one, the New England Patriots that we all thought were going to show up before the season came to play, and this game was literally not even tense for a nanosecond. Jacoby Brissett just isn't good enough, / isn't really given enough of a green light to throw the ball, and when they fall behind, they might be the worst team in the entire NFL, because whenever that happens, they're just And sadly for the Patriots, Aaron Rodgers had himself a football game. Somewhat vintage A-Rod was dicing up the Patriots defense, but come on, what do you want me to say? The Jets are back or anything? Because, like, my brothers and sisters in Christ, they played against the New England Patriots. So I'm going to need to see them beat a real good team like how they lost to the 49ers. They need to turn those losses into wins going forward, or else, I don't really care. This proved almost nothing to me. Okay, actually though, what the hell is going on? Can Malik Willis throw a football now? Is that a thing? Because honestly, I agree with what the Titans did for this game. They tried to make sure that the only way they were going to lose this game was with Malik Willis beating them with his arm. They were going to stack the box damn near every play versus Jacobs and force the Packers to have Malik Willis beat them, and he did. He somehow did. Malik had the best game of his entire career versus the Titans in his own revenge game, and if he keeps this up, the man is going to have himself a long-term job in the NFL, which is something I couldn't even dream of saying 2 weeks ago. But let's be honest, the Packers are just better than the Titans at everything. The Packers defense was playing well, and against a quarterback of Will Levis's stature, I don't know how he's kept this streak going, but, he has, and this was a game where if Green Bay was going to lose, they were going to beat themselves, and luckily for them, they didn't. So while the Titans are just gonna be sad in their own little corner over there, Green Bay, you got yourself a matchup with Sam Darnold this week, and if Jordan Love is back and healthy, this game is probably gonna be the best game of next week, so me personally, I'm hyped for this matchup.
I changed my mind. Kill yourself.
What a Browns-Giants game this was. I mean, the buffoonery was truly top tier. The Browns were out there busting moves on a play that got called back and then proceeded to give up a touchdown. Jerome Ford had a massive fumble, and I don't remember where I heard this, but sometimes it genuinely feels like the offensive line for Cleveland is just letting Deshaun Watson die for the greater good. Because even when Watson plays fine, everything collapses around him, and all of that in a nutshell is what it takes to lose to the New York Giants. Now, some people are sold on the Giants becoming a solid team, and I can see them being better than, the Cowboys, but even that for me is a huge maybe. However, the only certainty I see with this Giants team is that Malik Nabers is a special, special player. This team is really giving me 2018 Giants vibes in terms of just a below-average quarterback, just tossing it up to the best weapon on the team every play, and Nabers is that good. Just giving him a chance is actually the best thing the Giants can do with the ball, and hey, it's not working out so far, so, why stop now?
Stewart is hot. Look, here goes Stewart.
Yeah, we all kind of knew this was coming, right? We just didn't want to believe this 40-point run was over for the Saints yet, but at the same time, it would have felt like a robbery at gunpoint if the Saints won this game, because they almost did. For most of it, it was a shocking defensive stalemate. And with Eric McCoy out for New Orleans, things just seemed a little bit off for the Saints. But still, the Eagles' defense deserves a ton of credit. The secondary was clamping Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Carter, and others were having a game. And meanwhile, with all of that happening, Jalen Hurts was struggling. Was it all his fault? No. The Eagles had some injuries on the offensive line, and obviously no A.J. Brown was huge too, but Jalen also had some whoopsies that were all on him, which kept the Saints in the game, and for a while there, both teams just traded punches to their own nutsack until finally some team had to win the game, and Saquon Barkley proved why he's probably the best player on the entire team, and Dallas Goedert got free on a huge play to basically ice it after both Saints defenders just pounded each other, and another Saquon touchdown and a pick later, and the Eagles got themselves the ugliest of ugly wins, and Saints fans are left praying that this is not the new norm, because actually though, what the f*** was that offensive performance?
How?
I don't know.
Well, my ass, I guess. The Vikings are good, I think. I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of convinced because Sam Darnold has been lighting the league on fire, but everything's been so solid around him too. The offense, the coaching, but to me the defense has really been the most shocking part to me. In just this game alone, Andrew Van Ginkel and the secondary were amazing, and Jonathan Grenard's revenge game was just diabolical. 3 sacks and a blowout win? I mean, you can't ask for anything more, and the Texans, well, I mean, at least they can't play worse. Penalties and errors from everyone are why they got so destroyed in this one, and the hope is this just doesn't happen again. But maybe Joe Mixon will fix all of your issues when he comes back, but I don't know, Houston. I'm not very concerned at all because, you know, every other team in your division is starting to look a lot worse than I predicted, and as long as you can just not let this happen again, you know, all should be at least pretty well. I've never been more confused on what to think anymore. So you beat the Lions. Let me get this straight. You beat the Detroit Lions, and then you get picked apart and had your carcass composted by the Denver Bo Nix-led Broncos. I mean, this game has upset of the year potential because the Bucs were literally better than the Broncos at everything except for head coach, apparently, because Sean Payton just doesn't lose to Tampa, and he somehow managed to do it again. Mike got PS2'd by Baker, he didn't trust his O-line, the run game with Rachaad White needs to be abandoned, and the defense just couldn't stop once again Bo Nix. So, I mean, just like with Houston, this was a demoralizing loss, devastating in all regards, but, you know, could be worse. But before we go any further, it's time to talk to you about this video sponsor, OddsJam. If you're looking to up your game in sports betting, OddsJam could be your best friend. With over 260 sportsbooks under its belt, OddsJam is a go-to platform for savvy bettors, and here's how it works. OddsJam's arbitrage tool scans the market in real time, spotting differences in betting lines across various sportsbooks to find edges. This means you can basically lock in risk-free profits by betting on both sides of the market, but that's not all, because OddsJam also provides a positive EV calculator to optimize your bets and a handy bet tracker to monitor your profits. So by using OddsJam, you're not just betting smart, but you're betting responsibly too, and you're going for a more long-term profitability approach. And the best part is, they offer a 7-day free trial. So if you want to give it a shot, use code FROG for a 35% discount on your first month of use. And once again, that is code FROG for a 35% discount on your first month with OddsJam. So with that, let's get back to the video.
Richardson throwing, intercepted!
Anthony Richardson has not developed. I repeat, Anthony Richardson has not developed. If I had any stock in the Colts, I'd wait for them to play some obviously terrible team that won't win a single game this year under any circumstances, like the Panthers, and then sell it all. Because the fact that Anthony Richardson is as inconsistent as he is on the easiest throws in the entire game is just so scary. That was the number one thing he was supposed to work on in the offseason. And not only did his accuracy not improve, but at the same time, his IQ may have actually decreased. And I'm saying all this negative shit right now, but they actually won this game. This is just one of those weird-ass games where I feel like we saw more positives from the Bears than from the Colts. Because in Chicago, Caleb is playing some better football. People calling him a bust already are just not only obviously wrong and dumb, but like, it's okay for the youngest QB in the NFL to show some growing pains through 3 weeks, okay? And in this game, once again, he showed even more signs of greatness, and he looked a lot more comfortable for one thing, and when Keenan Allen comes back, the Bears are probably going to have themselves something resembling an offense. But for now, in the present, yeah, they aren't there yet. Obviously, that Hail Mary before the half kind of just has described their season so far, and this offense isn't on page with one another yet, but eventually, I think they're going to get there. But right now, they're just leaving too many opportunities on the table to win a football game against a team better than the Tennessee Titans. So, you know, the signs are there. Once again, the signs are there to improve. But, you know, first they just need to improve. This game was an absolute snooze fest, and I wrote that in the first quarter. What else do you really want me to say here? The Steelers are just the Chargers, but better than them in literally every regard, except for quarterback play. But then the football gods made sure that was in the Steelers' favor too, taking out Justin Herbert, and yeah, from there the Chargers just didn't have a chance, with Taylor Heineke doing the whole football thing for the Chargers. But hey, look out AFC, because at this point the Steelers are 3-0, and if the Ravens and Bengals can't get their things together over the next few weeks, then, you know, at some point the Steelers might just have a little bit too big of a lead over the rest of their division, and we might be looking at a playoff game in Pittsburgh, which is not somewhere you want to play. So, I decided to take a pilgrimage to the Mecca of misery. And I'll be completely honest with you, I didn't write anything down for this game because, you know, I was there, but I had a terrible feeling in the bottom of my stomach that Andy Dalton was just going to carve us up. Because this shit always happens, and I did my whole "this always happens" spiel like 2 weeks ago, but it does. It really has always happened this way, and of course, it happened again, and I don't know how much more of this I can take. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was just like in the shower by myself, and I just had a moment of clarity where I was like, you know, wouldn't that be fun to be a fan of like a good-ish NFL team? Not even anything like crazy, but like, could you imagine winning a playoff game? That would be insane, but nope, gotta stay loyal. Yeah, I mean, this was my first Raider game in person since the fucking snow globe incident of 22, and this was way worse than that. Way worse than probably the Cardinals game two years ago, which was just also a disaster, and I don't know, man. I just don't understand how we can keep this up. I don't understand how we can have Andy Dalton, this 36-year-old quarterback who has never had any experience in this new offense, just play a perfect game. He was doing the same thing all game long. It was just screen pass, slant to Deontay, and then he did make some great throws, like the touchdown pass to Deontay, but I mean, we made him look like he was Dan Marino. It was a pathetic performance. Gardner Minshew just continues to play like shit, and I knew our season was over in week 1, but this kind of has just confirmed that. It was cool. You know, we had hope for like 7 minutes there. And, you know, that's better than most years. So, yeah, it's going to be a great season. Much like the Browns game, this was just a textbook Ravens-Cowboys game. The Cowboys got blown out early on because of course they did, and then the Ravens took a massive lead off of their run game because that's all they can do, and then of course the Ravens blew the lead in the fourth quarter because Ravens. But after the two opposing forces of stink from both sides just gave all their energy to try and see who was the stronger suck, and well, the Cowboys were victorious this round, as Lamar iced the game and the Ravens barely managed to survive the dreaded 0-3 mark. As for Dallas, we got ourselves a problem. Turns out Mike Zimmer in 2024 was not the move defensively, and the defense that was supposed to be the only consistent thing about this team is now allowing by far the most rushing yards in the league, and on offense, damn near worse, because if opposing teams double CD, the Cowboys just can't really do anything. The run game is completely gone, and Jalen Tolbert ain't getting the job done as a wide receiver too, so I don't know, I guess I'm hyped for when Dallas plays like Philly, so then they can really lock in and play themselves a real football game, but as of right now, I mean, this collapse I predicted from Dallas is coming way earlier than I thought it was going to.
I'm very sorry, and I apologize.
Well, this was disappointing, Arizona. I mean, you know what you had to do. With a defense like yours, you have no choice but to keep up offensively with the Lions, and well, you just didn't. That's kind of it. The Lions made cooler plays than you, and yeah, like I said, the Lions are just the better team at the end of the day. Sadly, Arizona, you don't have an Aiden Hutchinson, but I don't know, at least you tried, and for Detroit, this was a solid bounce-back win. Your fourth-string tight end apparently got hurt because you don't throw him the ball, and Goff isn't playing amazing, but you still don't have much to complain about outside of that, so you know, good stuff. Nice win.
Because you need me! You need me to save you!
Turns out the best way to stop Tyreek Hill is Skylar Thompson, and then even he got hurt. So, I mean, that led to Tim Boyle playing quarterback in this game. Enough said, right? The Dolphins are just absolutely charred and burned beyond belief without Tua, and by the time he comes back for the Dolphins' skill position players' sanity, let's all pray that that happens sooner rather than later. And on the other side of things, the Seahawks are 3-0, but, I mean, they have just not been given the hardest of paths, to say the least. Yes, they are undefeated, and undefeated is technically undefeated, and this team is still solid, but wins versus the Broncos, Patriots, and Tua-less Dolphins aren't anything to be super proud of, and they know that. But Just like with what I said with Dallas, though, until the Seahawks play a team like the 49ers, their NFL hierarchy status will not be determined. And as of right now, they're still just going to stay like a little bit better than a goodish mid team, if that makes any sense. How do you lose this game, 49ers? The Rams have nothing left. Yes, obviously the 49ers were also injured, but you cannot deny that they still had the more talented team by far. And versus a team with over 100 yards in back-breaking penalties at crucial moments, they couldn't do it. Brandon Ayuk just doesn't know how to play the ball sport thing anymore after he got paid, with him also hilariously fucking up the lateral at the end. And amazing performances by Jawan Jennings and Brock Purdy were wasted because they couldn't stop Jordan Whittington. I mean, this is just the definition of a game they can't lose, and they did. Divisional opponent in need of a momentum turner, fresh after getting their secondary exposed by Sam Darnold, and they couldn't beat the Rams. McVay is a beast of a coach, though, and it's not easy to beat the 49ers, arguably missing 3 of their 4 best players from last year. So this is really a win that saved the Rams season if they're going to save it and get healthy. And for the 49ers, I'm just still at a loss of words. How do you lose a 94% chance to win the game with a team this talented? They're 1-2, and the Seahawks are 3-0. It's really amazing. This is hard to do.
Patrick Mahomes' ass looks so good in those spandex.
Oh boy, people on Twitter are not happy at all, and I guess for sort of good reason, because this game did start out a little bit interesting, with the Chiefs playing well, but then Mahomes threw another momentum-turning interception, and I'm not really getting worried about Mahomes still, but Jesus, man, I mean, he is not playing his best football right now, and as the game went on, both teams looked pretty evenly matched in at least the talent department, and this ended up making for a pretty fun game. But for the second week in a row, the Chiefs just kept making game-losing mistakes, but their opponents couldn't capitalize off of them. The Falcons' play calling cost them on multiple clutch 4th downs, and the Chiefs' defense made plays when they needed to with a little, assistance from the old Zebras, but I don't know, man. Well, let's be honest here. The Falcons could have won this game themselves. Yes, the refereeing wasn't perfect, but they had opportunities to just do it themselves in their own control, and they couldn't get the job done. And that's just not going to work versus the Chiefs. And the Bengals made the same mistake last week, and they didn't learn from it, so that's why they lost. But as of right now, Falcons fans shouldn't be that upset. I mean, this might be the best 1-2 team you'll ever see, and they lost to 2 undefeated teams at this point and had a win versus the Eagles. So, I mean, their schedule has been absolutely brutal. So, there's a lot to look forward to there, at least.
I'm really thinking about buying a noose on the way home.
What the fuck just happened, Jacksonville? Do you remember just like a few weeks ago, hell, it wasn't even a month ago at this point, where people were genuinely believing the Jaguars had a shot at the AFC South crown? And look at where we are now. Oh my god, this might be the worst Jaguars game I've ever seen in my life. I don't think I've ever seen them play this bad. I don't understand how that was even possible, what we saw on Monday. I can't even pile on anymore. The game highlights are all you need to know how this Jaguar season has gone and is going. Big rant coming next week if they lose again, I'll tell you that. But for now, yeah, I had a real great time watching Mitchell Trubisky versus Mac Jones on one half of my phone.
That's my fucking quarterback.
Imagine I tell you Joe Burrow played an amazing game. He only had 9 incompletions, he didn't have a single pick, had 300 plus yards, and the Bengals didn't even come close to winning the game. I mean, this wasn't even close to the offense's fault. The defense just got obliterated. Jayden Daniels played one of the best games a rookie quarterback has ever played. He was breaking records left and right, and Look, Jayden Daniels really did play great, like I said. He deserves all the credit in the world, but, I mean, bro, how the hell do you go from clamping Mahomes to letting Cliff Kingsbury just drag his nutsack across your face for 60 minutes, Bengals? How? They're 0-3. The Bengals are the only 0-3 team in the AFC North. I mean, you gotta give me credit for picking them to win the Super Bowl, right? That is not... Jesus. That is not easy to pick the last remaining 0-3 team to win the Super Bowl, okay? I mean, just clap it up for me. I'm a genius. And, Washington, you got yourselves a franchise quarterback. Now, I do remember last year I said this for Sam Howell, but I mean, that last play he made to Terry McLaurin was special shit. in his face. Pressure. He can't see anything. He throws a dime to Terry McLaurin to ice the game. And, I mean, that's just high-pressure situations that rookies are not supposed to do that well in this early in their career. But Jayden Daniels played amazing. And, poor Joe Burrow, man. He really tried today. But before we go, you know what time it is. It's time for the TubFrog Discord Awards, where I turn to you, the people, to see what you thought were the best and worst plays and individual players from Week 3. And without further ado, let's begin. And you said the best play from Week 3 was Jayden Daniels' touchdown pass to Fat Guy for a piece of trivia that's going to come up in 20 years when people ask who Jayden Daniels' first passing touchdown was to. And then I asked what the best game from Week 3 was, and I mean, look, you can't argue with it. Monday Night Football has been cooking so far. We've gotten 2 amazing games back-to-back, so I mean, hey, I'm not a fan of this double thing, but, you know, great game is a great game. And then I asked what the best individual performance was from Week 3, and yeah, Jawan Jennings definitely won a lot of fantasy games, I'll say that, and he really filled in nicely with no Debo and no Brandon Ayuk, basically, and he's always been underrated, so it's, I guess, good to see him have his flowers now. And then I asked what the worst performance was from Week 3, and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank God that they overshadowed us, because hopefully people won't remember that we just lost to the Panthers. Thanks, Jacksonville, for that, I guess. And then I asked what the worst individual performance was from Week 3, and Skylar Thompson is back in action, and he's hurt again, and played like absolute crap. So, you know, it was nice to see that not even be a competition. And then I asked you what the best Sith Lord was out of all of the available ones that I gave you, and Darth Vader ended up getting the dub. It's sad that, you know, Jar Jar couldn't take home the gold. But anyways, if you like this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like this one. And if you did like this video, then watch this video that I just did the other day on Eli Manning and his very interesting Hall of Fame case. It's pretty good, trust me. And thanks to all my Patrons for pledging $1. It truly does mean a lot. But anyways, until next time.